Hong Kong Direct is your weekly racing wrap with news, views, previews, interviews and special guests. Coming up on the show today, we do have a very special interview with Grant van Niekerk, who's having a fantastic season. Double on Wednesday night, in fact, at Happy Valley. He'll be talking about his early days in South Africa, sitting down with Ed Sadler. And the January Cup, we're looking back on the feature race, the Group 3 from Happy Valley on Wednesday nights. Very warm welcome to the show. I'm Angela Jeune, joined in the studio by our very special guest in Dave Morgan. I say special as well, Dave, because we've been chasing you down for weeks now, and you've actually come on your day off, so thank you for that. We're into the Group 1 action very shortly. A week on Sunday, double-header Group 1 with some of Hong Kong's biggest names back on the track. Yeah, it's exciting times. We've had that break since the December races, the big races at the start of December. We've got the Stewards Cup coming up, Centenary Sprint Cup, Beauty Generation, White Cuckoo back in action, the top milers, and the best sprinters beat the clock. Is going to be out there up against Hot King Prawn and the like. Yeah, the John Size has got 4 going around there. Beauty Generation and White Cuckoo. Does he hold the upper hand now? He's beaten him in his last 2.
Yeah, I mean,
Day fair and square.
That's what the form says. The recent form says that. It's going to be interesting if John Moore can rekindle that spark in Beauty Generation. The question is, has he just tipped over and is he on the downgrade now to the point where he's going to find it difficult, or has he got something to bring him back up again?
And just on the sprinters as well, the big names are there except for Athero, who had a fever after international, and Big Party, who won recently. They've resisted the temptation of going forward with him to the big dance. Yeah,
I think Big Party had those couple of runs pretty quickly together, so they've decided to skip this one and wait for further down the line. But it's still a hot race. We've got the champion sprinter in there. Hot King Prawn, I really want to see that rematch. Hot King Prawn looks like he's going to beat the clock again. DB Pin, of course, is back in there. Won this race a couple of years back. It's an exciting race still.
It certainly is. All right, so that's a week on Sunday for the Group 1 double header. Got a big program coming on Saturday as well. We'll be looking at the feature race there as well. First up, though, Ed Sadler sitting down with Grant van Niekerk, looking back on his early days in South Africa.
Well, Grant, great to catch up with you here at Sha Tin. Let's look back on your journey from going from South Africa to joining us here in Hong Kong in the riding ranks. Is it true that you hadn't sat on a horse until you joined the Jockeys Academy in South Africa?
Yeah, that's true. Thanks for having me, Edward. Yeah, it's obviously it sounds a little bit weird that I haven't sat on a horse and I'm a jockey, yeah, just obviously it was very interesting at the time, and actually one of my family members brought it up, and obviously I gave it a try, and then look where I am today. You know, it's funny how our life turns, but yeah, I was terrified of being around horses at first. I didn't want to be close to them. I was really frightened of them, and until I got the feel of them, you know, you just all of a sudden, from being so scared of them to having all this trust in them and jumping on their backs and going crazy around them. So yeah, from the moment I felt comfortable around them, I just immediately loved it, and obviously when you ride, it takes you into another world, so it was great, yeah.
So you say that someone in your family suggested it. Does your family had an involvement or an interest in horse racing?
No, not really. I'm actually the first to start the tradition, but yeah, they just brought it up. I don't know, I think my uncle used to bet on horses back in the day, but obviously with my family members not being too tall and so forth, I had the genes of becoming a jockey, and yeah, so it all started out like that. And obviously for me at the time, it was just to see if I enjoyed it or not, and yeah, I didn't look back ever since I sat on a horse.
Speaking of your family, just tell us, what was life like growing up for you in South Africa as a young boy?
Yeah, it was good. Look, I've always had my my family around. We were all really close growing up, and of course when I joined the academy in Durban, it was about a 2-hour flight from home. So I was really sad that I was not around at the time, because we, of course, as I said, we were always really close, and we still are today. They're great supporters of mine, and in what they do back home, I support them. So yeah, it's glad that we all sort of worked out to where we are today, because obviously growing up we never had much, so it's really good that well, I can be proud to say that we took the right direction, and all my siblings my brothers and sisters that obviously went through the education system. Unlike me, I'm the black sheep of the family, but yeah, I'm just proud of them.
Your first winner, you didn't have to wait too long for it. Was it Clarewood as an apprentice? What are your memories like of that day?
Yeah, I'll never forget that day. It was the horse I went on, I rode it first time, my first ride. I ran second on it, and
Combat leader?
Combat leader, that's it. And he was a real nice horse, such a legend to ride, you know. And yeah, he really, you know, he gave me a moment I'll never forget in my life.
Combat leader stays on strongly inside the last furlong. Combat leader Grant van Niekerk, today he rode a peach of a race and he will get his winner here. Combat leader won it.
When you're riding in South Africa, we've seen South African jockeys have a profound influence on Hong Kong racing and on so many other parts of the world. Who were your influences as a young jockey coming through the system?
Yeah, look, obviously riding back home, you always hear of Hong Kong racing, and it's just so well renowned, you know. And of course, you've had some successful South African jockeys that has been riding in Hong Kong, and a guy like Douglas White, you know, growing up and you hear of him all the time, so it was really great because of course if you're back home and you know you aspire to ride in these great places, because obviously the horse racing here is just another level compared to back home. And a guy like Anton Marcus as well back home, for me, he was a true professional. He just did everything right, you know. There's obviously a difference with the top guys and the average guys. They just seem to block all the bad out and go forward. And you know, growing up when you're young, you like to play around, and there's a lot to learn for a youngster. You know, growing up to where you want to be in 10 years' time and at the time of riding. So I'm just glad that, you know, I did look way ahead of my time and kept on the straight and narrow and worked hard to where I want to be. So now that I'm here, I just have to obviously make sure I make it work. It's not easy. Hong Kong's not easy. It's not easy to get the good rides. So I think it'll be all worth it. Like if I do end up making it long-term here and riding, you know, being in the top five.
As far as your time in South Africa goes, Met Day 2018, you win on O Susanna, you win another Grade 1 on the day on Snow Dance. When you look at the good days of your career so far, that has to be up there, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure. I've had some really great horses back home. I used to ride, and you know, I'll always be thankful for those horses because they're the ones that put me in the position I am in today. Yeah, it was also not easy back home. I'm not saying South Africa's not easy. You have some great jockeys over there, and I'm just really glad. You know, I made it there, and I managed to get on some real good horses. I was working for a top stable back home, and you know that just made it a lot easier.
Snow Dance is in front. She's getting wary. Rose in Bloom is trying hard. Star Express is up the outside, but Snow Dance keeps rolling. They can't beat her. Snow Dance stays on to win from Star Express. Rose in Bloom.
Refer to those two, O Susanna, Snow Dance. Have you got a horse that at this stage of your career is the best you've ridden? Would one of those be that horse?
I've ridden a really good filly back home called Inara. She gave me about 5 Grade 1 wins, and she won in every province in South Africa, different Grade 1. So that to me was really special. You know, I rode her since she was a yearling, and she used to give me a lot of trouble when I used to ride her. She was very naughty, but you know, I kind of schooled her into the filly I thought she would be, and you know, when she had her first Grade 1 win with me, it was really special, and she just continued that. And yeah, she's a filly that's really close to my heart.
There you go. We've got part 2 next week with Grant talking about his now time here in Hong Kong. But interesting, going right back to the very start, he'd never actually sat on a horse, which isn't actually all that uncommon. There's plenty of jockeys. The first one that springs to mind is Darrell Holland. At the time that I was sort of first getting into racing, I think he went from never sitting on a horse being champion apprentice in about a year. If it clicks, it clicks, and it clearly has with Grant. Yeah,
and Grant, he's obviously got the knack. He's got a natural athleticism as well. He's actually quite a good little sportsman. So I guess
he's a very good cricketer, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's quite fast on the football field. Yeah. Lacks a little bit of finesse, but he's not bad. Played against him once or twice. But yeah, he's got that natural athleticism. And he's got one of those things that a good jockey needs. He's got that real desire. He's not happy if he's not winning. He wants to win. And you see that in any good jockey, any good sportsman.
You also need, I say you need luck. Luck comes with hard work, I suppose, when you first arrive here in Hong Kong. But he's made an impression very, very quickly. Last season he had 31 winners. He's already on to 22 this season. Yeah. And he was talking about being a top 5. He's in that bracket, isn't he, straight away? Yeah,
he is. He's doing really well. I mean, like you say, last season he was riding at a 7% strike rate. This season he's riding at 12%. He had a bit of a quiet spell November through to December. But the horse that he's done really well on, Simple Elegant, bookended that quiet spell, and he's just kicked on from that. He had a double again last night. He's doing very well, and he's got to be pleased with what he's achieved so far.
Yeah, 2 of the first 3 races at Happy Valley, good for you and Polymer Luck. He had Flying Thunder as his first group winner last season. He was riding Big Party at the start of this, lost the ride, back on him for a big win.
Yeah.
And those are the sort of horses he needs now just to elevate himself for the 4-year-old series coming up as well. If he can get on a good one through this campaign, again, it just takes you to the next level.
Yeah, certainly. He had the Group 2 on Season's Bloom as well, which helped in between times.
Premier Bowl.
Yeah, those are key. When you've got to the level that he's at this point, which he's done very well his first season and a half, you need to get those good horses and tick on and just keep your profile up. Remind the owners what you're capable of.
Yeah, and he's a nice guy as well.
Yeah, he is. He's a good guy.
All right, there you go. That's part 1 of the Grant van Niekerk story. We'll have part 2 on next week's show. That's part 1 over for us as well. After the break, though, we'll be looking ahead to the weekend action on Saturday and looking back on Wednesday night, the Group 3 January Cup at Happy Valley. Welcome back to Hong Kong Direct. My special guest is Hong Kong Jockey Club rider Dave Morgan with me in the studio. We'll be looking ahead to the weekend action at Sha Tin this Saturday coming up. First, though, we'll look back on Wednesday night at Happy Valley and the only group race for the season run in the city's circuit, and that is the January Cup. Small field, Dave, lined up, but an interesting one with genuine Group 1 horses in there, the likes of Southern Legend. Time Warp maybe slightly past his best, but a Group 1 winner all the same. And Sacred Capital over from Macau.
Yeah, Southern Legend obviously had top weight. Time Warp was always going to go out and lead, and he did. And like you say, he's not quite the horse he was. Couldn't maintain that. It was a good win by Dr. Jeff. Just sat second in the run, quick and nicely, and got the job done off a low weight.
So as a Group 3, it is run as a handicap. So you touched on Southern Legend carrying top weight. He's a dual winner out of the Kranji, the mile over there. I thought even with the top weight, he was probably a little bit flat, a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, I think so. You would have expected a little bit better than that. I looked at the run in the context of he ran in the same race last year, coming off the Longines International races, and he didn't perform particularly well. But I think his run last year was better than this year. Last year he had excuses. He got battered at the start, horses banging him. Wednesday night, he seemed to have a decent run through and just didn't seem to pick up.
But Dr. Jeff is a real course and distance specialist now. If we didn't know that before, he's now unbeaten in 3 starts over Happy Valley's 1,800 metres. And the weights might have been slightly in his favour. He's not a big horse, and with that light weight, he was just able to sit and stalk. Harmony Victory was another big run, again coming off a lighter weight towards the back of the field. He stayed on strongly. Yeah,
and Francis Loy essentially said after that run that he is a small horse. I think that was only the 3rd or 4th time he's actually weighed in at over £1,000 for a race here. So he is very small, and he had the light weight, and Francis Loy said that was key. As you say, Harmony Victory, he ran a solid race again. Probably got caught a little bit flat-footed when they quickened off a slower pace after they slowed it, and he ran on strongly. Probably looks like he might improve over a further distance, and I think he even won over further in South America before he came here.
All right. Well, Vincent Ho.
Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think he did.
I will double check it. Vincent Ho was the man in the saddle for Francis Loy. Straight after the race, he caught up with Ed.
He ran pretty well the 2 start before in Sha Tin, and we aimed for this one, and he did really well here.
Turning for home, your Time Warp in your sights when you rounded the corner. Were you confident?
At one spot, I thought Time Warp will be better, but when I hit the straight, he actually picked up really well.
You and Francis, great combination, and you've got Golden 60 in the 4-year-old series coming up. This could be the start of a big month for you both.
Yeah, thank you for your support, and hopefully Golden 60 just keep healthy all the way, and he'll perform really well at a 4-year-old series. Yeah.
And one of his main rivals, More Than This, will carry those colours of Huang Kai-wen, who's done really. He's got Player de Puente in training here as well. He used to have paniophobia. He's done very well with his horses. But what do they do with Dr. Jeff now? Where does he go? I'm
not sure. I don't think the trainer knows exactly yet. Yeah, that win kind of puts him out of the equation in these races at Happy Valley. As you said earlier, the 1800 at Happy Valley seems to be what he loves. So assume they've got to go back to Sha Tin and see how he gets on.
Yeah, in some of the bigger races again. But yeah, it was certainly a super win. You couldn't knock him for that. Dr. Jeff, 3 from 3 now at Happy Valley, and takes the January Cup as well. All right, looking ahead now to Saturday. We're looking at the last race here with a sort of a 4-year-old Classic Series angle as well. Alain Charisma, all of his wins have been at Happy Valley over the 1,800 metres or more. Private Secretary, 4-year-old, still a colt, won on debut at Happy Valley over the 1650. Nakoni Express was behind More Than This, a leading player for the 4-year-old series. Pressure Ship behind More Than This last time out as well. Butterfield, a 4-year-old, 4th to Private Secretary last time out. Band of Brothers is behind Private Secretary, but he's back at Sha Tin, might be better suited there. And down to Columbus County, another 4-year-old who was 4th on debut behind Golden 60. It was a big price then. Casper Found's Joe Moreira. Good Omen is also coming out of the Private Secretary race last time out. So we might get a few more clues here through the 4-year-olds themselves, Dave, and also through an angle from these Nakoni Express and Pressure Ship with More Than This, where they sit in the grander scheme of things. But let's start with Private Secretary, because this was a super win first up. Was the old adage, they don't win in Class 2 first up here. We've had 2 horses do it now in the space of 2 weeks, but to do it at Happy Valley, it was a decent effort.
It was, and he got a soft run. He got a nice sit on the rail and kind of scooted round and through, but the way he did it, he was very relaxed through the run. Beforehand, he was actually a little bit on his toes, going around the paddock, if I remember rightly. But in the run, he was so relaxed, quickened really nicely and ran on strongly. There was an awful lot to like about that run.
Form out of the UK was very strong coming here. Won the Cocked Hat Stakes at Goodwood's, 4th at Royal Ascot behind Japan. It went on to win 2 Group 1s. So the form was in the book. It was just a case of has he acclimatised and has he hit the ground running? And the answer was an emphatic yes.
Yeah, and that form, as you mentioned, back in Britain, he was progressive. He had 2 nice runs when he was second as a 2-year-old, put it together a hat-trick, finishing with that listed win, and then had the good run in the Group 2. A horse ideal on that profile coming to Hong Kong. And he's from a fantastic family. He's from a family that I've always been enamoured with. His 3rd dam was Al Rukaba. You've got horses. His 2nd dam, last second, who was a high class. She won the Nassau Stakes. She's the dam of Aussie Rules. Yeah. Just Group 1 winners throughout that family. Albarada. You could go on. Albanova. You know, there's loads of them. Yeah. And so you look at that and think, is this a horse that's got that pedigree? What he's shown already? Has he got the class to go on and win a derby? And maybe he has.
It'll be ridden by Tony Picone as well. It's a good pickup ride for Tony here, for Tony Cruz. Butterfield was 4th in that race, making the running. He's out of South America.
Yeah, he's very interesting. Big step up on his first 2 runs. Ran on strongly, and he's a 2-time Group 1 winner in South America. Would have been 3, but he was disqualified from a race. He's won a derby already over 2,400. So the distance is going to be no problem. You're looking at him as, is he going to have that quality and that pace over these shorter distances through the Classic Series leading up to it?
The other one, right down at the bottom of the way, it's only £119 to carry. You consider Private Secretary will carry £131, is Columbus County. And he was a super run on debut as well. Again, behind More Than This, so we've got that angle to look at.
Yeah, his run, he was dropped in at the back. He didn't get away very quickly, which would be a little bit of a concern if he's drawn out again going forward. He needs to learn from that. I thought he ran a nice race. He was very eye-catching. It was kind of a little bit... It was solid rather than spectacular the way he ran on, but certainly a very nice first run. You've got to be looking at that positively going forward.
Classic Mile is run on our Chinese New Year meeting, which is on the Monday, the 27th of January. And Beauty Legacy really breathed some life into it as well with his super win. Golden 60 looked like he had a stranglehold on it, but now it's well and truly alive.
Yeah, I was very taken with Beauty Legacy. The way he did that off that rating. I mean, if you look... to win that off 92 first up, if you look back, the recent Derby winners, you're talking about Werther, won first up off 89, and then you've got horses coming just into their... debuting in Hong Kong in their Classic Series campaign. First up, you've got horses like Furore, Ping Hai Star, Akid Mafid Collection. They couldn't win first up. And he's come in and done that, and he did it pretty impressively.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I was stood next to him. He's, as John Size talked about, he's got these management issues, and they're hoping that he can learn from that run and go forward. He's got attitude. You could see that standing close to him, but he's also got presence. He's got power, and he looks like he's got class. Are you prepared to stick your neck out at this early stage for either one of the legs, the Derby preferably? I wouldn't stick my neck out yet. I was very taken with Beauty Legacy and Private Secretary for the Derby.
Right.
For the Classic Mile, I'm still leaning towards Golden 60 personally.
All right, well, there you go. As far as the diaries coming up this weekend, the key to the feature race is race number 8. It's on the all-weather. Back to Happy Valley, Hong Kong Challenge Cup, and then Group 1 action, Centenary Sprint Cup and Stewards Cup. That's a week on Sunday, a Group 1 double header there. Looking forward to that's what we started with, that's what we finished with, I suppose, there. Beauty Generation back at the trials Friday morning. We'll see what he can do. Yeah, fingers crossed. Let's hope he can sparkle. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, Dave, many thanks for your company today. Thanks. Thank you for watching as well. We're going to leave you this week with Helene Mascot winning the Derby. Why, you ask? We've been talking about Private Secretary. He's trained by Tony Cruz. This was Tony's second and most recent Derby winner as well. Helene Mascot winning in a driving finish under Felix Coetzee. Enjoy this, and hopefully we'll catch you again on Saturday. Bring all the action from Hong Kong direct to you.
Helene Mascot staying wider as well. Then Win Practitioner. A length to Horace's Choice, Ambitious General. Jackpot Delight, Never Look Back. 2 off to Green Birdie, and Fearless is at the tail of the field. The pace has been genuine, racing to the turn, and it's Lucky Me, just the leader from Lu Yu. Viva Hong Kong back in third. Then Great Guy from Dow Dow. Helene Mascot in striking distance. Horace's Choice pulls out from Win Practitioner. Ambitious General, Jackpot Delight, Never Look Back, and Green Birdie's last as they sweep into the straight in the Derby of 2008. Dow Dow makes his move, so does Coetzee on Helene Mascot, and he cruises up, but here they come. Horace's Choice and Green Birdie the outside. Helene Mascot in front. Green Birdie's running on gamely. Jackpot Delight back to the inside. Sumion throwing everything at Jackpot Delight. He's after Helene Mascot. Helene Mascot ahead in front, and Helene Mascot wins the Derby.